in the winners bracket final. Aren't all of your minds blown, my fellow desk mates, that no one has seen yet?
I am so surprised by Solar being so good in this tournament. I didn't expect it whatsoever.
Is it even fair for someone to be this good, Snoot?
Actually, no, because you just win everything, just like Tasia did it in previous DreamHacks. It's not fun.
man.
Hold on
They
a
just
minute.
win. They just keep winning. It's not fair.
I mean, he's got another three
You
DreamHacks to
are
go.
you're 100% in Legacy of the Void tournaments as well. You keep winning.
Yeah, it's totally not fair. Someone else has to do it.
There you have it, guys. Zerg is actually underpowered, but because Solar's going to continue to win, they will never get buffed. We Tasia fans know what that feels like. This one guy retires in 2015. It's like, where did all the Terrans go? Welcome back to the DreamHack ROCCAT Legacy of the Void Championship. We have another match to go. It's a ZvZ. I want to hear from you guys. Forget this match. Which one of these guys could actually take a map off Solar?
Both.
I would say both. ZvZ is very volatile right now, but if there's a favorite, to me, that's going to be Nerchio. He has the experience, he stays calm, and his CVC is top-notch. FireCake also has very strong CVC, but I think Nerchio should come on top in this one.
Like Nerchio, just in Legacy of the Void, he's actually a very smart guy, but he's also been playing a lot and doing very, very well. Like, everybody knew he was kind of scary going into this tournament, but he's also actually been a champion. Like, we all remember the days when Nerchio goes to Home Story Cup, 4-0's MC and Yonghua in the finals and stuff. Even going up against MVP in the finals of an IEM.
Yeah.
Like, he's a very, very good player, and he has been very, very good in the past, too.
He's a DreamHack champion.
He won DreamHack as well, Nerchio.
He did. He beat Bly in the finals in Bucharest 2012.
Wow.
He's pretty good at StarCraft.
He's all right,
to a reasonable degree.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Nerchio be that cheeky guy to beat Solar. That would be interesting. Knock him off of his high horse.
He's definitely
as it were.
beatable. He's definitely beatable. I think it's not just in the winner bracket are beatable. I think he's beatable throughout the rest of the tournament at this stage from here on out. Before that, I think he was going to whitewash through. Parting obviously had a good chance, but I believe in Parting's return if they were to rematch again, and also the other players in the lower bracket.
Showtime.
Showtime, baby.
The players that we aren't quite sure yet if they're up to the task. I guess it's basically Solar versus the world right now, isn't it? Right.
It's Solar versus DreamHack, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it feels. He won the last DreamHack he showed up. Actually, Solar's won all the DreamHacks in Sweden that he's been to. Boom.
Get a hat trick in Sweden.
I like that he was actually sad about dropping a map, too. Because he was already thinking about his DreamHack victory being, like, mapless.
Yeah. As we get into this next series, of course, keep in mind you guys can keep letting us know who you think's going to win. Tweet at us. You can win some swag. Use the hashtag #SetTheRules. Get some awesome gear from our sponsor, ROCCAT, as well as hashtag DHW15. But the game's loading. It's time to see who wins the last match of the night. Take it away.
Thank you, Nathanias. So here, I have you to tell me all about ZvZ and yet again.
Anytime. ZvZ is a lot of fun.
I mean, you are currently a ZvZ champion coming back from China.
Yeah, currently. There's a lot of weird things going on in the ZvZ early game right now, and so far this tournament we haven't even been able to see what ZvZ can offer beyond the very early stages of the game. So we'll see how this one plays out, and I kind of hope that it's going to go a little bit longer than the Bly versus Lambo series.
Have you played against either of these players recently, knowingly?
Unfortunately, I have not been able to play against either Nerchio or FireCake on ladder. But I played against them a lot in Wings of Liberty, in Nerchio in particular, and in Heart of the Swarm especially.
Anyhow, spawning in the bottom left of this map as our Red Zerg, it is FireCake. And I did just see Nerchio writing some...
I think everyone saw. The cheeky guy.
He is rather cheeky.
Spawning in the top here. He likes to chat. It is Acer Nerchio. With the clever smile.
Smiling there, grinning.
Maybe he's listening, and if he is, he surely is cheating.
I'm so funny.
But he's smiling regardless.
You know, Nerchio is one of those players that people such as, well, one of the people that I know did it in the past, Grubby just put him on block before he even played him.
I know, right?
Just so he didn't get to see any of his chat, because he does chat a lot of shit, which can definitely throw you off your game.
Yeah, both of these players have a little bit of a mental game outside of the game, don't you think?
I think they do, Snoot. And what exactly are you hinting at here, just so I know I'm on the right track?
Nah, you know, you have players that don't really say a whole lot, like Bunny would be a good example, just GLHF and GG, that
Very
type
mannered,
of thing.
yeah.
And then you have players of the past, like such as Idra, for example.
Oh, a little vocal.
A little bit vocal. And Nerchio and FireCake a little bit in between. A little bit cheeky here and there. And yeah, a little bit vocal here and there. Often posting a lot on forums. Nerchio in particular, very active. Likes to post on the Team Liquid topic threads as well. A very funny guy with a lot of witty comments. And yeah, just very entertaining to see.
So what do you think about these two builds thus far? Both going for a hatch first build.
I like it because the game is going to drag on. And these builds, of course, very, very similar. We can see the speed timings only starting a few seconds apart from each other. So it's going to be one of those longer macro games. Neither player opting in for one of those Fly-esque builds. But the difference here between Nerchio and FireCake so far is that Nerchio has taken the front base, and this is going to deny scouting quite a lot. FireCake is going to see the creep, and then he has to pull the Overlord back. And, well, look at this. Very, very fast third hatchery from FireCake.
And what do you think about this continued mining of gas by Nerchio? Still with 3 drones on gas all the way.
I like it. It's very safe getting that Baneling nest. And FireCake going for the fast third, he might be susceptible to some sort of pressure here from Nerchio. And if Nerchio now sees this, I think he already knows, of course, because of the Overlord. He could theoretically be able to punish this using Banelings. But if FireCake has a sufficient amount of speedlings, he should be able to ward this off, and that's why he made 6, to counter the 4 and make sure that those 4 Zerglings cannot morph into Banelings.
I mean, a good number of Zerglings FireCake did make to fend this off. A third base on the way, and even a Baneling nest slightly later than his opponent, but
I like that
decently
too.
Timed, yeah.
FireCake is anticipating that Nerchio is going to go for some sort of punishing play, seeing this early third. So this is very, very clever by FireCake, baiting Nerchio into being aggressive. But look at the speed timing. Nerchio with a little bit of a head start actually catches quite a few of these lings.
Just a couple, and FireCake's finished very shortly after. But a lot of links joining the field by both sides, very equal on supply.
FireCake was, however, able to ward all of those Zerglings away, and now he sees the Banelings. He knows what's up. Nerchio is going for this very, very aggressive single gas Zergling Baneling pressure, looking to take down this third base.
Now we get to the stage of the game in which is very, very micro-fueled. Zerglings against Banelings, Banelings against Zerglings.
And
now,
FireCake, he has Banelings, but they're not here.
Where are they? Where are they? They're moving on top of the ramp. Are they going to be in
walking up?
Oh my
massive
lord!
explosions there. What is even going on? So many Zerglings and Banelings just disappearing. But in the grand scheme of things, FireCake is holding on to his third base. There's 2 Queens, there's Banelings. I think Nerchio is in quite a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the defender as well with the 3
And
Queens
with the
going
ramp,
up.
FireCake secured the ramp. If Nerchio wants to go up here, he has to get high ground vision first. Try to locate the Banelings. This is such a tough spot for Nerchio, and he has to fall back on something else. He's making drones, but there's no third base for
This
Nerchio.
is the bravest Queen I have ever seen. Nerchio's Queen on the entire other side of the map here, trying to hunt down Overlords. But FireCake, he's in great shape. He sees the stream of lings coming across the map even now, so he knows the exact plan of his opponent.
Big explosions there. The poor Queen falls. Lots of units lost in this game. Both players just operating with very, very low drone counts. FireCake still not mining from this third though, and that's going to give a little bit of comfort to Nerchio, but even then, on the 2 bases that FireCake has below this third, he's mining way more than Nerchio is, and Nerchio has yet to even complete the third base of his own. FireCake has a massive lead, I would say, at this point.
And now he's deciding to drone up too. He has the Spine Crawler for defense. He has enough lings out that he doesn't really need to make any more for the time being. He can just morph. If he does see aggression, he can just morph a few of these Zerglings into Banelings and be safe. So FireCake is just going to work on his economy from now on.
This is where the transition comes in. No lair just yet. Only a single evolution chamber. I like this for FireCake. It's very safe. Doesn't want to risk something, go for something way too greedy. He doesn't know exactly how far ahead he is, but I think he's about to find out with these Zerglings that he's sending into the main base right now. Should see the timing of this natural, and this is a very, very reassuring feeling for FireCake right now. He knows how far ahead he is in the worker count. 50 workers to 36. FireCake is playing this out wonderfully, baiting out Nerchio early to produce a lot of links, defending masterfully, and now he's in a fantastic position.
Do you think that all just came down to a bad engagement from Nerchio? Like, what would you have done differently with the Banelings, or would you have not committed so hard?
I would not commit that hard in the first place. Falling into the trap of FireCake, having to walk up that ramp is not it's not a comfortable spot you want to be in. So I think I really like, especially on a map as big as this, the fact that FireCake went for a build that utilizes a early third base like this. I think it was a very clever move by him, and it's definitely paying off right now.
Certainly is. He is workers ahead. He's tech ahead as well, and even producing like a lot of overlords, ready to just make a ton of units with this. And even still darting Zerglings in here, there, and everywhere, just trying to get as much info as he can from his opponent here.
Yeah, I think it would have been better for Nerchio to just apply a little bit of fake pressure and scare FireCake into actually not utilizing the third base and then taking a third of his own and rather just making drones behind it. I think that would have been stronger. But now FireCake is actually moving roaches across the map here. No real reinforcements. This is just fake pressure. FireCake made 11 drones behind this and also taking a fourth. He's just macroing like crazy right now, and eventually at some point I expect him to go into some sort of finishing move with a lot of roaches, ravagers, and probably a roach speed timing of sorts. Nerchio sees this base though and might get a cancel. That could be a small victory and the start of a possible comeback.
You know, when you talked about that fake pressure though from FireCake marching across the map with the roaches and such, as soon as that went onto the Overlord, Nerchio started making his own roaches, so Nerchio took the bait. So again, FireCake's just playing very, very smart in this game.
Absolutely, and he's really playing to the strengths of the map. This is a map with a very, very long rush distance, so making any sort of all-in play, for example, it's going to take a long time before your army can actually arrive at your opponent's base. So I like that he's going for this fake pressure. It makes so much sense from a strategic standpoint.
Nerchio's gathering an army almost faster than FireCake is by getting units onto the map so early and Ravagers as well.
I think FireCake might be overextending here. He wants to close out this game, but I think he can wait even a little bit longer. But then again, he has the 30 supply army lead. The question is, with a map this big and road speed not being there yet, and there's a limited amount of creep, I'm not sure if he can actually end the game right now, but look at the supply. It should be possible with a 50 supply difference. Surely it must be possible.
The little Overlord dance there does survive.
Here we go.
Maintain vision, but yeah, this is a lot of roaches now. And
FireCake stepping on creep, and this is so many roaches from him. But a couple of Ravager shots being fired there. Don't really hit too much. A small run by in the natural as well. Not the biggest of deal. This is the main fight. What's going to happen here? FireCake is stutter stepping close into Nerchio's army. Not really the best roach shots, but the supply is just very, very overwhelming right now.
But still a decent concave for Nerchio, and if he does survive, the roach count is, or rather worker count is very similar, but
I'm very surprised
so
to
many
see
roaches.
Yeah, a little bit of a move commander from Nerchio into FireCake's roaches, and the numbers are just overwhelming. FireCake truly showing how he can use an economic advantage just to close out the game in a very, very strong fashion. I don't think Nerchio can recover from this. 40 army supply against 100 from FireCake. Just a very, very solid game from start to finish. FireCake going up 1-0 there. Seemingly very, very calm and composed. Great game there to start.
Really was. He knew exactly what he was up against, and he handled it very well. He didn't overcommit to anything, didn't look panicky at all either. He knew exactly how many Zerglings he had to make and knew what he had to do with them. So good control, good macro decisions, and good decisions throughout. So very impressive play by FireCake thus far.
I especially like the build order. It made sense for the map, and also the way that it makes sense when you play against Nerchio as a player. If you take a very fast third against Nerchio, I feel like a lot of the time he will try to punish it. And on this map, it was a perfect decision, because leading up to the third base, like normally on the map, like say the gold base map, Prime Terraces, the third base is down on the low ground. You can attack it from multiple angles, and there's no ramp, there's no different advantages to actually help protect that base. But on this map, Dusk Towers, there's a very large ramp. Sure, it's large, it's not the tightest ramp ever, but you still have to walk up it. And if there's no Overlord there to provide high ground vision, you need to send Zerglings up one at a time, try to locate the Banelings, and attacking in general is just very, very difficult. So this was a brilliant choice of strategy from FireCake in the first game.
So on hindsight, you wouldn't pressure that. You wouldn't.
I would
go
pressure.
For a pressure build.
I would definitely go for some sort of pressure, but it would be very, very soft and definitely not committing to say 8 or 10 Banelings.
Okay.
This just it's too easy for the defending player to bring Queens down, to morph Banelings, and micro-wise, it's just incredibly difficult to actually, you saw how much of a mess that fight was. The massive Baneling explosion.
The big explosion.
What was even happening? And at the end of it...
I'm so glad that you said that, because I had no idea what was happening either. I didn't know whether it was good for Nerchio initially, but upon looking at the wreckage...
Been good. Like if
good
Nerchio somehow could remove every single one of FireCake's Banelings, and he had additional banelings of his own to fight against the triple hatchery production. So many speedlings coming out at a very quick rate. If he had those extra banelings, he might be able to pull something off. But now we're back here on layer like Crest. In the bottom, leading 1-0, it is FireCake.
And this is the first time we've seen him on the main stream too, in this tournament, or at least I have. And so far, very, very impressed. He even managed to come first in his group, defeating Bomber, one of the initial upsets of the tournament, actually. And spawning in the top right, as our Blue Zerg, currently 1-0 down, it is Nerchio. Bit less of a smile going on this time.
One of the most experienced veterans of StarCraft 2 should be able to make a comeback here.
Now, bit of a difference in build orders thus far. We do have that one base gas pool going on for Nerchio.
Yeah, we saw Lambo use this against Bly a little bit earlier on in the tournament, and it's very important for Nerchio now. I mean, theoretically, they're both playing very, very safe. If you use a build like this, it's very important to still adapt to a one-base opening. But they're really respecting each other here, not going for any sort of those Bly-esque, super, super quick circling speed builds. So
with Nerchio's build, it's mainly a defensive build, or what is he hoping to run into here? Best case scenario and worst case scenario?
That's the thing about ZvZ. It's not as contrast. It's not as how to say this. It's not as black and white as it used to be. So I'm not sure what exactly you would like to run into with this type of build. It really depends on what sort of transition Nerchio is going for. Is he going for an expansion? Is he going for a bathing nest before expansion?
Looks like he's going for an expansion here, but he's still mining a lot of gas with this.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to put on the pressure with the speedlings and the bathing nest. And I'm not sure what type of build you want to run into with this. It's very safe. If you scout someone with the first Overlord and you see that they haven't expanded, for example, then you don't need to expand yourself and you will have a nice lead. But in general, it's going to come down to the execution of the transition and what type of transition you go for. FireCake, very late speed compared to Nerchio, but he does have a worker lead, quicker expand, but Nerchio should be able to do some sort of damage here. We'll see how it plays out.
Now, FireCake
dropping his spine. Like, he's very scared right now.
He's taking it very seriously, yeah, which...
The Overlord of FireCake has not seen the expansion of Nerchio, so he might be assuming that this is just a one-base all-in. And in reality,
a lot of lings too, 6 lings, 10 lings on the way.
Yeah, and in reality, this is just some sort of soft pressure from Nerchio, and if he can get this hatchery, that's going to give him a massive lead in this game for sure.
I don't believe he's going to be able to get this hatchery, especially with that spine crawler.
It depends on the next banelings. The spine crawler is going to come down, there's going to be 2 queens, but if he can get a wonderful hit on all of the Zerglings at once and then overwhelm with the Zerglings somehow, or maybe even just a DPS down the hatchery, the spine is not even in range. And
FireCake's so many lings.
FireCake's bailing nest is so late. I think maybe Nerchio can be able to actually bring this hatchery down somehow.
Oh lord, the bailing's just bypassing the queens.
Oh, he's just
entirely.
bypassing everything.
That is quite a few lings going down to the first bailing, but not much survives for Nerchio here. But this
but
detonation,
hitting so many drones though.
Yeah, quite a few drones do fall.
Behind
Nerchio
really has to target fire those red drones. It's going to mean so much if he does.
Let's see, 4 drones dead, so Nerchio's got a 5 worker lead right now. He's got his own expansion up.
See, this is the cool part about Legacy of the Void ZvZ. The openings, they don't really hard counter each other as much as you would see in Heart of the Swarm. You can really see how it's a bit of a skillful thing. There are multiple ways you can attack your opponent, and you can choose if you want to commit a lot or if you want to commit very softly. And the game is evening out right now, and Nerchio seems to have a little bit of a lead. It's very cool to watch.
Well, definitely a different situation this game. I mean, in the first game, Nerchio went aggressive and it was fended off very, very easily, and FireCake managed to gain a lead, whereas this time the aggression did a little bit of damage, but the little damage it did, I think it gave Nerchio a pretty decent little edge here.
It's a very, very tiny edge.
Very fine.
Very tiny edge. Look at the supply, look at the worker count, look at the army size, look at the resources.
That's
everything
a lot of
is
lings,
so similar.
Is FireCake misreading this, or is he planning on going on the aggressive here?
I think he's just scared of the pressure, the army movement of Nerchio here at the front. Nerchio, when he has an army, he likes to use it. He likes to scare the opponent, and we saw that here. Nerchio, once again, he's facing this ramp leading into FireCake's base, but he learned from the previous game, he doesn't want to move up that ramp. It's so difficult to try to get damage done, and it's much better to just go for drones yourself and some sort of transition from there. And FireCake, feeling the heat a little bit. multiple Overlords being produced at once.
Now, a Roach Warren going down, the Evo going down. This looks a lot more like a HOTS game right now.
Absolutely, we're going into that Roach phase of the game, very similar to Heart of the Swarm. But of course, the Ravager is there. So the unit compositions we're about to see will be very different. We will not see as quick of a lair as usual.
This Zergling, though, did get to scout quite a bit of that. Got to scout the Roach Warren, got to scout the Evo chamber.
Yeah, sees that there's no real Roach attack coming in anytime soon. So I think both players will just...
The Queens of Nerchio, again, very active, taking out Overlords where they can.
Nerchio actually making a lot of Roaches right now. He seems to be gearing up for some sort of 2-gas attack, and this can be incredibly strong. Question is, though, is FireCake going to stop making drones and make Roaches of his own? The Roach Warren timing of FireCake would suggest that he's about to stop making Roaches and in that stop making drones. And in that case, FireCake is 44 drones and Nerchio is 39, and it's a pretty good spot for FireCake to be in.
Those were quite wasteful lings, or rather Banelings, and one thing I would like to talk about here, Nerchio, when he was at 40 drones, FireCake was at 29, and now FireCake's actually taken a lead, so all of Nerchio's money has gone into producing an army, and upon pushing out, he's now droning behind this, so a lot of mix and match here from Nerchio.
Yeah, this pressure should be fake, but then again, you can do this very safely because there is no road speed. You get the lairs so late in Legacy of the Void matches, so it's very safe to do small pokes like this and just go home because the roaches cannot catch up to you very easily. But Nerchio is really stepping deep here on FireCake's creep, and it's not working out so well for him so far.
Yeah, it takes out a Spine Crawler, a couple of Roaches here and there, but ultimately he suffered quite a few losses there. Keeps his third up against the counterattack of the Lings over there, and is droning up a lot here too, whereas FireCake going a bit middle of the road here, producing drones and Roaches.
FireCake is playing this very, very safe. He got a lot of Roaches, and he will be moving out with them shortly. But Nerchio, I like his approach a lot so far in this game. He has the faster Roach speed, and he made a lot of drones just now, so he should be able to get up an equally... You know, look at how even this is. They have pretty much the equal counts. These Ravages from Nerchio, I really like that though. FireCake did not invest into those, and Nerchio got quite a few free Overlord kills with them.
Yeah, and it's not just Overlord kills, supply blocking your opponent, it's also denying him vision, and his opponent's already playing defensive, and now he definitely has no idea what Nerchio's doing and how much of an army he's accumulating and where, so...
Yeah, and the thing for FireCake, now that you mention it, one of the ways to get information is to move out using roach speed, but if you move out without it, then you can get caught by all these roaches. So FireCake right now, from a theoretical standpoint, he cannot ever move out safely with the roaches to poke or get information, because there's a possibility, or you know, it's very likely that the opponent could have roach speed. So FireCake is completely locked down to his base, and then the question is, how many drones can you afford to make safely in case, like if your opponent is going for an all-in? And right now, Nerchio is using this to get a very nice worker lead and killing off even more Overlords.
He does have a worker lead, even though it's only slight, he's had it for a bit longer. He's also got an upgrade advantage going on here, going to hit +2 and 1 before his opponent hits +2. Lots of Roaches joining the fray for both players here, but can't really fight into this concave, at least not super efficiently, I don't feel.
Nerchio is not going to commit here. He sees that FireCake has slow Roaches, and at some point, Nerchio should be thinking that FireCake is probably going to have roach speed, and then it would be wise to back off. But even then, off-creep Roaches, they have the same speed, there's no difference. And I like this a lot by Nerchio, just trying to get shots in there, here and there. But this was an overextension for sure. Losing 2 Roaches, sure, dealing a little bit of damage, getting another Roach there. Nerchio is really pushing it here.
Oh, he's dealing damage in the natural too. Quite a few Roaches attacking over there, so this was kind of like
wow, snipes it!
Oh my lord, so the damage earlier from those Zerglings was not in vain. Actually runs in a large group of Roaches and takes out the natural.
That's a very, very big snipe right now. But FireCake does have a little bit of an army lead. But I think with the reinforcements of Nerchio and this concave that he's setting up here, he should be able to hold, but it's also going to be about the Ravager shots.
Lots of corrosive bios going down for both players, but FireCake's army actually does look quite menacing still, so this is not over by any means.
And Nerchio's +2 upgrade is only a few seconds away from finishing, but it's taking a convincing fight regardless and just completely outplaying FireCake here on the defensive.
Yeah, FireCake, he's lost his natural, so his economy's in shatters here. And 150
He has
supply
the
gates,
work account,
120.
but the main is probably mining out very soon, and the natural is not there. Nerchio has the
Oh.
4th base. He can rally the drones from his main to the 4th. Easy
Oh.
peasy.
And I love this from both players too. As soon as roaches get hurt, they use those to morph into Ravagers, as you can see on both sides
Absolutely.
here.
One of those small details that do matter a lot. Tunneling Claw roaches were the norm before. You would usually burrow them and heal them that way. But now that the Ravagers are so powerful, we don't really see that all that much anymore. And wow, FireCake actually on the outside. Is this going to be some sort of base trade?
I mean, it could be, but Nerchio's got the upper hand in every sense of the word. He's already in the base of FireCake.
This could be so awkward, but usually in base trades like this, it was the same in Roach base trades as well. The strongest army almost always wins, and it's very, very difficult for FireCake. But he's getting burrow, and I've seen this on the ladder before. Sometimes FireCake, he will hide drones around the map and build hatcheries, and even use burrow sometimes to unburrow and burrow drones, hide them in places where you don't expect them to be, and just make a hatchery at random locations. And
I wondered what you were getting at there with the hiding drones and hatcheries.
yeah. So in a very crazy game like this, FireCake only has 1 drone though, and the burrow
Is that him? Oh,
that's it.
that's it.
That's it.
No more hidden buildings around the map.
And there's 1 drone in production though. If FireCake can save his main building, but realistically, 105 army supply against 73, it does not look good here for FireCake in game number 2.
Even with Dream Biles
Wow,
going down, it might.
fights going down there.
Yeah, that was a lot of Biles going down on Nerchio's army, so can't take this too lightly here. I mean, that is still quite a lot of Ravagers, able to do a lot of damage to Nerchio's army. Even doing self-harm, he potentially could fall in his own pike here.
A little bit of a silly fight here, but it is one that Nerchio should win over time.
The single drone, the loneliest drone.
A little bit of lure commands here, but it's pretty sure at this point it's just too much army for FireCake to deal with. And GG's called. Nerchio takes the game, ties it up 1-1.
Smart play. It was really smart play. I liked Nerchio's aggression that game. It seemed less all-in-y.
Yeah. There was a lot of fake pressure, just some move outs here and there. He respected the road speed, just very nice pressure there from Nerchio.
Yeah, very smart play.
And especially getting those 4 Ravagers to snipe the Overlords.
Yeah.
I would really like to see FireCake use that as well. It's a very important part of this modern Legacy of the Void CVC to actually remove those Overlords from the map. And if you don't make these 4 Ravagers, you're kind of missing out on free resources and free map control, so to speak.
It would have been it would have been hard for FireCake to do that though, given his lair was so much later.
Yeah,
and
but that's
lacking
also
that
a conscious
speed.
choice. Like he went for the faster 3rd base and skipped out on the lair. So maybe in the next games, and even then, even if you just have more roaches, then you can still move out somewhat safely. But losing those early Overlords really hurt him. I think you can still keep scouting. You can still keep poking with the Zerglings instead of like diving in on the bases. You can still use the Zerglings to poke and see like, okay, how many drones does Nerchio have on the 3rd base, for example? You can just keep poking, try to get the read on the drone count, and if you see a ton of drones, then even if you don't have road speed, you can still move out on map and try to clear out Overlords.
So that was a far more standard ZvZ than we've seen
This
so
was
far.
very standard, the longest
whole
CVC
tournament.
we've seen
I mean,
so far.
When Bly isn't involved in a ZvZ, we do get to see it kind of go past the 5-minute mark, but that's kind of cool.
It's very cool indeed. And I think also at some point, Nerchio was also getting the Hydralisk then, getting
for
ready
lurkers.
to take up to Lurkers, and that's a whole different game as well. Most of the games, though, are very, very violent, and they usually stay on their Roach or Ravager tech. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of Lurker play come into play here as well.
And what is going to be the 3rd map? Orbital Shipyard.
Orbital Shipyard, that's FireCake's choice. Spawning in the top here, it is FireCake.
Snoot, Lord of Hype. And spawning in the bottom left as our blue Zerg. Hailing from Poland, it is Nerchio.
No cheeky comments this time, but he
No.
should be feeling a little bit cheeky, getting back into the series, tying it up 1-1.
I'm a little superstitious with that stuff. Like if I type a cheeky comment or whatever, and then I lose the map, but then the next map I don't type anything and I win, I'm going to stick with the winning trend.
Yeah, it seems to be the case here, so not
Now,
really
what are we
saying anything.
seeing? Oh, a mirror build by both these players, and the macro-centric mirror build.
Yeah, I feel like Nerchio and FireCake are both very, very macro-centric players. Nerchio likes to be aggressive a lot as well. That's why we saw him go for the roach speed a little bit sooner in the second game. It's also why we saw him go for the all-in. Well, I suppose it can be called a little bit all-in-ish. Like, there was so many circlings and banelings. FireCake, much more defensive, if you ask me. But they're both very towards the macro end of the spectrum.
FireCake's always been a very defensive Zerg player. I remember in ZvT when Swarm hosts were insanely good. He even had his own build orders where he'd double extractor trick and such. When it wasn't exceedingly necessary, you could just go for like 9 Overlord and all that jazz. But in fact, yeah, he used to go for Temple. Do you remember that?
Temple?
Double extractor trick for the extra drones, then make an Overlord.
Yeah,
it was a crazy
maybe.
build. But yeah, here, very, very similar. In fact, exactly the same build by both of these guys.
Couple of drones coming in. Totally standard CVC so far. Nerchio's gas a tiny bit later. Earlier.
Still mining gas.
Yep.
For
Just
Nerchio.
keeping it safe.
And that's just the... In fact, both of them. So I guess
Yep.
the whole trend of pulling off drones off gas kind of becoming a lesser thing in Lexi the Void, purely because banelings are so...
Yeah, and the early aggression builds as well, they're so scary, so you don't really want to risk it and pull the drones off of gas if you're not sure. So there we see FireCake going for the very early baneling nest, but Nerchio, he's had 50 gas for a while, but he's not going for the baneling nest, so it could be something like a Roach Warren or something else here.
Is there any form of crazy, super fast lair tech builds going on in ZvZ?
Not at the moment, as I would say. The only thing would be 2-base Muta, which still has a lot of potential on the very big maps, for example. But aside from that, there's not really a whole lot of reason to rush to lair.
So an insanely fast third from FireCake again.
Just like in the first game.
Just like in the first game. Now, Nerchio actually has quite a few lings to deal with, so this could be...
And he's making more. He seems eager to actually cancel this third again. And this time the map is a little bit different. The ramps are a little bit different. There's this ramp to the bottom here. Very nice Ling micro from Nerchio as well, taking out a lot of these Zerglings, and he has the advantage. And he has speed as well. Even more Lings are going to fall.
Oh, he's just going for the hatchery there for...
Yeah, now they're just massing speedlings, both of them.
Wow, this is already getting a little crazy here
But
from both
Nerchio,
of these
though,
guys.
Nerchio doesn't have a third base on the way, but I'm not sure if FireCake actually sees this. FireCake is only thinking about defending this space right now, but behind this, Nerchio is actually going for a Roach Warren, so he might go for some sort of follow-up.
These banelings could play a pivotal role. It looks like FireCake's actually got a larger number of lings here.
Yeah, FireCake is completely safe, but this was a very big investment for him. A lot of gas going into those banelings, and Nerchio has been saving gas, and I think Nerchio is going to make a 4 Ravager hit squad and clear out Overlords once more. But it's a little bit dangerous for him because FireCake seems to go on the counter, I believe. A couple of banelings sneaking in. No, still just staying defensive.
This is one of those situations where you constantly have to look at your army, as if one wrong move and you run into banelings, you could potentially lose the game right there and then.
Yeah. Or at the very least be in a very, very tricky situation.
I like the fact that Nerchio decided to make drones a bit earlier amidst all of that Zergling fighting.
This is a very unique build from Nerchio, I would say, using the very heavy speedling pressure to force a very defensive stance from the opponent and then going into the 4 roaches. I expected Nerchio to morph... I gotta be careful here with the ramp. I expected Nerchio to morph these 4 roaches into Ravagers, but it's a bit too soon for that. Now he just wants to defend. And he sees that all the links of FireCake are on his side of the map, and that allows him to do this counterattack in the banelings fall.
Great micro from
FireCake
Nerchio.
is in so much trouble right now.
Oh, he tried to
This is
go
horrible.
aggressive there. He's losing drones. He's going to lose this hatchery too by the looks of it. But fully focusing on that hatch, and the hatch does fall, and the counter aggression did nothing.
This is why you can almost never have enough defensive banelings, and Nerchio is going to defend this and take out all the Zerglings of FireCake. He's into the main of FireCake.
Oh lord, and there's no roaches out for quite some time here. In fact, they're just about to pop, but damage is being done. Drones off mining here, and even saves the third.
Saves it.
Nerchio, you little monster, you.
Nerchio just capitalizing on the tactical blunders of FireCake.
Oh, and
just
look at
having
that
the
too.
right units in the right place. It's so typical Nerchio. He truly knows how to position his units and what to make at the right times. Like, just very, very clever CVC by him.
Also, I really like I like FireCake hold positioning his drones to try and minimize the damage, as Lings can't then auto-attack them. It went on attack move command. But Nerchio saw it happening almost instantly and just started focusing down the drones one by one. So nice counter micro there.
This is so cool by FireCake. He even faked a little bit of pressure. I would love to see it. Yeah, there we have the Ravager morph from FireCake, and he should be able to take out a few Overlords. And Nerchio has a lot of Overlords on FireCake's side of the map.
This is a rather adventurous Overlord right here.
Yeah, going to take a few shots. The next shot is going to kill it for sure.
Still, though, Nerchio's lead right now, with the third base surviving, that was amazing.
Pretty big lead. The Nerchio is actually going for another move out. Seems to be reinforcing the speedlings. I think Nerchio is going to just close the game right here. Despite having the work elite, he doesn't have to attack, but he seems eager to do it anyway.
I was about to say, this is like an action movie with that Overlord avoiding all those corrosive biles.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a fun mini-game, so to speak.
Certainly is. So Spinecrawler being placed very defensively by FireCake.
Oh, so many roaches though. This is just like the first game. Nerchio is just going to do like FireCake did on Dusk Towers and go for the massive roach finisher. These corrosive biles not really doing a whole lot. Nerchio is actually diving in on the Ravagers, targeting down both of them.
Micro.
Only one more corrosive bile going down. Doesn't really hit a whole lot, and the Nerchio army here is just too overwhelming, and FireCake is in so much trouble right now.
He's stuck on the ramp. This is such a bottleneck to try and get down. There's a huge concave, a bigger army waiting for you at the bottom of the ramp. So even if you do get down, you're just running into way more than you. And look, the third goes down. There's so many roaches for Nerchio here. He pushes his lead, 130 supply against the 80, and he's not stopping anytime soon. GG, Nerchio takes the third game of the series. 2-1 lead now for this young Polish man.
Having the right build, a little bit risky, skipping the Baneling Nest, but his control is immaculate.
It certainly is, and Nerchio, he's always been a very prominent ZvZ player too, throughout his whole career. Like even in Stefano's reign.
Yeah, Nerchio was usually the guy to actually take Stefano down.
Yeah, I remember the only player that could really beat Stefano pretty consistently too was Nerchio. And I remember being at the Arizona house, and Stefano was streaming, and Nerchio was purposefully stream sniping at him. Like I'd be like, "Oh, Stefano, you actually lose?" He's like, "Yeah, to this guy," and it's like, "Oh, so Nerchio, he's always been a pretty prolific ZvZ player." But
yeah,
when you have a strength such as micro, and also his decision making.
Yeah, and the tactics as well. He's so good at keeping the flow of the game. I don't know how to explain this, but he was going for the Roach Warren, skipping the Baneling Nest, and then he just really invested in so many Zerglings, and I'm sure if FireCake had a few more Zerglings, Nerchio would do everything he could just to keep FireCake on his side of the map. And it was a little bit of a gamble, but with Nerchio's execution, it's possible.
Yeah,
keeping FireCake guessing, keeping him on his side of the map.
Nerchio definitely likes to force the pace of the game.
Yeah.
To play his style, his way.
His army control, the way that he is ever so present with the army, always controlling it. Even if there's not too much happening, even if he cannot directly attack into you, he will still be very active with his army.
Yeah, and it's very obvious that FireCake also wants to play his own macro game and be kind of left alone for as long as possible.
Yeah,
and Nerchio's just not letting it happen.
FireCake has some very strong builds going into this against up against Nerchio, but right now it seems like Nerchio is distracting FireCake almost from his comfort zone.
Yeah, the mind games. Nerchio knows how to bring you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So the next map here is going to be a very small one. It's Nerchio's choice. This was actually FireCake's choice, the orbital shipyard. The next one is going to be Allrina, mini scrap station.
Now, given that you can early scout your opponent with an Overlord, it's the one with close air positions and the tight bridge funneled across. How do you see... What do you think is one of the most optimal Zerg styles on this map in ZvZ? We
see a lot of one-base openings.
Okay.
They make quick work of hatch first.
Okay.
So it's usually either the 13-13 or the one-base speedling expand or the one-base speedling baneling pressure into expand. Or the other thing would be you have the gamblers that go for the hatch first.
The gamblers, eh?
It works against the next build, which is the macro pool expand, the builds that we saw them use, Nerchio and FireCake use on Larry Lack Crest, map number 2.
Almost a hot scenario going down with a bit of rock, paper,
it's
scissors.
a little bit more of a rock, paper, scissors map, I feel, simply because of the rush distance being so small that the build orders matter so much more. So here in the top, playing as the red Zerg is FireCake. Has to win 2 games in a row now to stay in the upper bracket. And in the bottom, playing in blue, Acer Nerchio. Looking very, very calm and collected.
Although I did just see a big swallow there, which is a sign of nerves, but Nerchio doesn't strike me as the nervous guy.
No, not really. And
Never
he's going for the
has.
safe spawning pool here. 15 spawning pool, I believe. Probably going for a gas as well. And a
Both of
very
them.
respectful spawning pool from FireCake as well.
A gentleman's game.
Imagine if one of them would hatch first. Maybe one day.
I love that you looked up into the air as you said that, thinking about it, and you're like, started giggling to yourself.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
certain things.
Dreamy.
Dirty,
Okay.
dirty, greedy builds.
They're mirroring each other, it looks like.
Yeah, FireCake with a little bit faster gas. Nerchio hasn't even started the gas yet, so just seems to be going for maybe some sort of roach opening.
Is gasless something that you can currently do in Legacy of the Void?
I mean, circling Baneling and the interaction with the queens and everything hasn't really changed too much. And on a map like this, it's a possibility for sure, but it's also a little bit risky as well. It's very, very map dependent. You know, Central Protocol, it's such an open map. You definitely don't want to be playing gasless there because the links can just get around you easily. But on a map like this, it's not exactly easy to wall off, but you should be able to get enough defenses out in time, especially with the late gas. So it's still a thing. It's very risky, but it's definitely still a thing.
Quite a few Lings marching across the map, and realistically, what kind of damage can they get done in the main base of FireCake? Not necessarily a lot, but at the natural, they're definitely going to start working on it and just trying to force this queen out.
A little bit of indirect damage here, forcing a lot of Zerglings out of FireCake, and the Zergling speed from FireCake is also very late. So Nerchio is going to be able to lower the health of this hatchery again, and we'll have to see though if FireCake keeps massing Zerglings right now and adds on a Baneling Nest. And if Nerchio does not get any sort of additional defenses, let's say if he stays on 2 queens, get the Roach Warren,
Look at this,
then this
though,
could be
Snoop.
dangerous.
That's a lot of Lings and a Baneling Nest going down for
I
FireCake.
know, right? I think maybe Nerchio might be in trouble here if he doesn't make additional queens, but he already has 2 queens on the field. Seems like, or is it just one?
And look, Nerchio's running in here and he sees a lot more Lings being made. He's
Yeah,
also seen the Lings on the way to his base and the Baneling Nest.
He should know right now that he will be in a little bit of trouble here if he doesn't have enough queens.
So what does he do? Queens, Zerglings, does he just make everything he can right now?
Yeah, everything within your power that's actually gasless. And you don't want to have your queens down here, that's very, very dangerous. But he knows that the speed cannot hit just yet. And Nerchio is actually going for the wall off here on a map that's quite tricky to wall, to be honest.
Just have that Queen, Evo,
Going for the
spike on
vertical wall off here. I don't know if there's a building further in the bottom of this natural. Maybe FireCake can actually circumvent this. We'll have to see. Lots of Banelings being morphed, but the 4th Queen pops as well, and I think maybe Nerchio can actually hold this.
This is a lot of Queens available.
There's the Evolution Chamber as well blocking this, so this is a perfect vertical wall off from Nerchio.
Oh, but the surface area on that Queen, he's getting shot a lot.
The 5th Queen! The 5th Queen is on the ramp, but it's not doing anything.
Oh dear, these Lings are getting in, but
There's
so
the
far
bypass.
it's a good hold by Nerchio, but these Lings are now in the base, and these drones, there's nothing to support them now.
Nerchio, this is a very, very typical scenario. We saw this a lot when Gasless was very, very popular. FireCake is returning to droning behind this, so it's by no means all in. And wow, Nerchio is just being pulled apart in the natural as well. FireCake with this very safe but aggressive opening is punishing this risky gasless play from Nerchio.
Oh man, trying to surround that spike wall to keep it alive at all costs.
Nerchio is in so much trouble. FireCake, I don't know if you saw that Nerchio didn't have any Baneling Nest or Circling Speed, but this pressure is working wonders for him in game number 4.
I guess with the initial Overlord, maybe he didn't see the gas? Like he didn't see a gas going up.
Maybe he checked the spawning pool, I'm not sure exactly, but either way, this turn, what FireCake did was a very safe move, at least if you saw that there was no Baneling Nest, so just very, very good play from him. And how is he going to follow it up, though?
A significant lead now for FireCake, and
Supply-wise, it's not looking that bad. And Nerchio is actually going for some slow link counter pressure, and FireCake has to invest into some more Zerglings. It's not necessary. Could have made a few Banelings. But FireCake seems to really be overreacting to this little pressure here.
or maybe he's thinking about round 2.
That could also be the case.
Oh, and cleaning up all these Zerglings, though. They're slowlings after all.
This could very well be a round 2, but do you want to go for a round 2 against how many queens? Maybe 4 or 5 queens, possibly?
This is FireCake we're talking about. And how many
It's
queens
not
are
that many
actually left
queens.
over?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of them. There's 5 though, but they're not in position. So once again, Nerchio is going to find himself having to wall off here.
And gets a bit of a surround on those queens.
The Zerglings
Oh.
get so much surface area on the queens here, and they're taking so much damage, and the Banelings come in as well. The Nerchio is in a horrible spot, and these Banelings are going to trickle in.
Yeah, great kind of semi-wall off by Nerchio here, but in a good drone split
But the
too.
DPS is not there either. These queens are working so hard to bring the Zerglings down, but it's just not going to be enough. And I don't think Nerchio can actually defend this.
A little bit of a shot. I'm like, this is only 3 drones dead so far though, Snoo. I mean,
It's a very nice defense by Nerchio indeed, but he's losing so much mining time, losing a few additional drones there as well, and he's losing one of his most important advantages in this game. He's losing his queens. And he's also, he doesn't have a third base on the way. FireCake is actually dropping that. This is some very, very nice transitional pressure from FireCake, taking advantage of his technology, the scouting that is done. He knows that Nerchio doesn't have anything to actually deal with this.
one really nice thing that FireCake did amongst all this too, started putting up a third. Look at this position, by the way, that Nerchio is trying to hold.
It's one of the better places to fight for sure.
Definitely, especially with the spine crawler at the back burrowing down, but FireCake now has a third on the way.
And roaches, I don't even think FireCake has to make more drones right now. It could very well just 800 minerals. Like FireCake is, his macro right now is far from perfect, but he's still so far ahead. And I think if he spends the resources correctly, gets the extra gas, and actually converts these minerals into gas that way, he should be able to just overwhelm Nerchio eventually with a big, big roach lead.
This was smart though, a small hit squad of Lings just rallied around the whole map, and GG is called. Nerchio, sensing that he was quite far behind, and upon losing that drone at the third, just decided, hey, I'm going to call it.
We're going to game number 5.
Man.
Quite impressive play here by FireCake. A little bit of an unorthodox build from Nerchio, going for that gasless.
And currently turning into one of the dark horses of the tournament, actually.
Absolutely.
Like,
almost in the, what is it, top 3? If he wins this one?
if he wins this one, he's top 3 of DreamHack Winter.
Oh, that's crazy.
Which,
That would be probably the greatest achievement for FireCake so far in his career.
he came like either top 8 or top 4 at WCS, I think, at one season.
Was it top 4?
I definitely think he did well. He definitely came on
Either
in
way,
leaps and bounds,
it's
but
very impressive and a fantastic way to start off Legacy of the Void for FireCake here if he is to win the next map. And I think the best thing for Nerchio to do right now would be to fall back on a little bit more of the standard style, because I feel like in map number 2 and on Orbital Shipyard, like the maps that Nerchio won basically, I feel like he did a lot of small moves very well, and I feel like he doesn't have to take those risks in terms of build orders. Like, he doesn't have to go for an all-in, he doesn't have to go for gasless. I would love to see him just stick to the standard, and from there I think he has the moves and the tactics to pull it off from there.
And the 5th map is
Prion Terraces, the gold base map. What's gonna happen?
It's making you so happy, isn't it?
No, not in CVC.
not when the
Not
the
when
shoe's
the
on
other player
foot.
can take the gold base. I mean, that's no fun.
This is a map that crazy things can happen, though. And in this tournament, we've seen crazy builds being done. Like, it's not just about Zerg playing, it's about which Zerg is playing. Like, we saw Bly taking the 4th base first. We even saw Solar in a totally different matchup, taking that 4th base, then taking the 3rd base for the double golds.
Yeah,
and obviously, ZvZ, it's a different beast, but
we'll have to wait and see. I'm very excited to see what sort of builds. And it's game 5 nonetheless. Like, if there's one time to be a little bit ballsy, it's definitely right now.
Now, spawning on Prion Terraces in the top left as our red Zerg, currently 2-2 in the series, it is FireCake.
And in the bottom of Brian Terraces, the blue Zerg, Acer Nerchio.
Currently getting attacked by Apollo. Cheeky monkey.
Cheeky cheeky.
Okay, so far in this game, there is no spawning pool going down. Makes me think they're both going to go for a hatchery.
The very respectful spawning pool opening from FireCake, and Nerchio going for hatchery first to the natural. Very, very standard here as well from Nerchio. It's a little bit dangerous to do this against drone pulls, or maybe even sometimes the one-base builds, such as we saw Bly use. You could do a speedling expand and follow it up with a gold base.
Look at his opponent though, yeah.
Going for that gold.
Now, with your supreme Zerg knowledge as you walk away a champion from China, having an earlier natural compared to having a slightly later natural against a gold base?
Gold bases are a little bit of a mysterious beast. I'm not sure how this one is going to play out. It really depends on the gas timings as well,
And
how many workers they make.
Yeah, and how fast Nerchio can actually scout this out too. His Overlord is on the way.
Yeah, and if FireCake is he's grabbing this gold, but is he actually going to transfer drones there, for example? And if he does transfer drones, then there will be a time frame where he will not have as much income as Nerchio, and will Nerchio maybe be able to hit the perfect timing, for example, and strike FireCake in this little moment of weakness? We'll have to see. Nerchio is making 6 links right now. It's going to be very difficult for FireCake if he does transfer drones to this hatchery.
Yeah, he's been relying on the Queen every time to fend off Nerchio's links, whereas now...
But this hatchery is quite late for FireCake, and I don't think there will be a Queen there to defend against these initial few Zerglings that are making their way shortly here for Nerchio.
Yeah, and the distance for the main Queen to get there is quite far too, and...
Does FireCake transfer drones though? Very quick baneling nest from Nerchio as well. I think he... Oh, that's a big drone transfer.
That's a huge
And the Queen goes down as well. That's very smart by FireCake. So now I feel like the pressure is on Nerchio to actually make something happen here with this early baneling nest and the early circling speed. But it's going to take a little while. He sees how many Zerglings he forced. That's a very good thing for him.
He does have extra drones, but
yeah,
economically they're probably about equal at this point in time.
Quite probably. Might be.
So more drones on the way for FireCake.
And more Zerglings on the way for Nerchio. He's getting ready to deal some damage to this gold base.
How do you see this going?
16 Zerglings, and FireCake seems to be anticipating this as well, dropping down the Spike Crawler.
His own Zerglings.
Yeah, Nerchio doesn't have to do this attack. You can still play in somewhat even game against the gold base.
But that gold base, it's got such a nice
FireCake is
angle.
countering though.
But that gold base has such a nice angle.
Yeah, this might be a big mistake from FireCake, leaving so many of his Zerglings out in the open here.
Yeah, these drones immediately pulled these Zerglings kind of in a fight of their own, but...
And now the drones cannot mind. They had to be pulled off at least for a little while. And now it's going to be all about the control here, as Nerchio is about to lay siege to this base of FireCake. Big explosion there.
That was great for FireCake. He's now got the gold, and he went pretty much unhindered there. Now he's got a lot of Zerglings on the field too. His own baneling nest.
16 Zerglings lost, just a 3 of FireCake there, and even banelings lost as well. This is just a very good defensive setup from FireCake, and I feel like Nerchio does not he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to go here.
Nerchio again, by the way, killing overlords on the map. So he's been doing that the whole series. So that's something he definitely has.
Sneaky banelings.
Oh, I tell you what though, great pull by FireCake.
Great reaction times there from FireCake.
That is not
and
something
this Queen is going to fall as well, most likely.
Yeah, that's not something that blinks on your map. That's something that you... but this... Wow!
5 drones going down, and now Nerchio is in a very healthy work account, but can he hold this counterattack from FireCake? Where are the Queens? There's 2 Queens.
That baneling, it was
but
so
there's no
close.
banelings. There's no banelings for Nerchio now. The baneling advantage is gone. How is he going to protect himself against all these speedlings?
I don't know if it can be
Can he hold the ramp though? Can he hold the ramp? It's going to be so important.
So few links. Nerchio, even amidst all this, he's counter-attacking but losing all his drones.
GG! No more defensive banelings. The FireCake does it with this amazing counter-attack here. Taking the gold base, holding Nerchio's aggression and counter-attacking with a far superior army. Much better control as well. The units lost tab showed only 3 Zerglings lost for FireCake at a time, when Nerchio lost 3 banelings and roughly 15 Zerglings. Just winning out the control wars here, using the Queens defensively to great effect. And FireCake finds himself in the top 3 in the winner bracket, going up against Solar. An amazing performance for him here at DreamHack.
And that was true relief if I've ever seen it. You saw there that he was so happy.
It was such a close series. Like,
It was
who wouldn't be
incredible.
relieved? That was so intense.
And even walking past now with his hands behind his head, very, very happy to win that. And yeah, it was very close.
Crazy CVC, and I'm happy that we were able to see some of these scenarios. We got to see a little bit of Roach. No Mutalist games so far, but that was quite action-packed.
Yes, and we are joined back at the panel by Nathanius and Apollo. Nice to have you guys here again.
Benjamin.
It's always good to be back. There's never a time where I'm sad to be on this panel with you guys.
That's man telling the truth right there. Big result for FireCake.
Very, very big result.
Top 3 at DreamHack Winter, with a
Massive.
chance, obviously, against Solar to be in the final, which is huge. It's his biggest result to date in this type of big tournament. He's won a tournament in France before, of course, but at this scale, this is huge. It's a great success to have.
Yeah, this is a foreign tournament in which he's taken down Koreans here. He's taken down some of the big foreign hopes as well, such as Nerchio. And he's in the winner bracket final now
That's
against
huge.
Solar. He's top 3 of DreamHack Winter. That is no small feat.
He has the chance to make like the ultimate upset as well. We have to keep in mind, like if he were, you know, in some weird alternate universe to actually beat Solar, like that's
Then you're
it's
top
madness.
2.
I know. Top 2, Burrow.
And not
He's a
one of
finalist.
us, not one of us talked about FireCake being one of our favorites for the tournament. A total dark horse. Like, he came under the radar, out of nowhere.
It's true. Is he a favorite for the tournament for you now?
I mean, Solar's still the big boy, you know, but
And Showtime is still lurking.
Showtime's the
In the lower
lurker.
bracket.
He's the real.
He's
He's the
burrowed
dark
and
horse.
waiting.
and even though Nerchio lost 2-3, Nerchio did look very strong in that series too.
Yeah. It
So
was
yeah,
good.
quite a few good players are left.
That was a
Nerchio is
very
not out of this.
50-50.
Nerchio is still in this. In the lower brackets, right?
Nerchio plays
true.
Showtime though. Yeah, you know Showtime.
That's Showtime
That's
hype train.
Showtime
guys.
hype train.
That's pretty hype.
Showtime.
And who does Parding play? TY.
Plotting plays TY. Nerchio plays Showtime, and of course Solar and FireCake.
All right, well, we're going to hear now from FireCake himself. He's over with Smix. How does it feel to win?
Well, why don't we ask him straight away, FireCake? When people talked about this tournament, obviously they talk about the Koreans, you know, especially Solar. And then when it came to the non-Koreans, a lot of people were talking about Nerchio. The Koreans actually mentioned Nerchio a lot. They even mentioned Bly. But your name wasn't mentioned, and yet you're the one that is now in the top 3 at the very least. What are the things that are going through your head right now?
It's hard to explain. I'm very happy. I'm thinking about my family. They might be proud of me, so I'm very happy.
Does your family watch all your games and stuff?
Yes, yes. I'm sure my family is watching, my girlfriend is watching, many fans, so I hope they are proud of what I have done now.
Well, I'm sure they are, as top 3 placement at this is no easy feat. Let's go straight into that series then with Nerchio. It was a very, very intense series. You know, you guys took 2 games each, and then it came down to that last game. There were so many moments throughout all 5 games that were so exciting. But personally for you, as you played through those games, what do you think it was that made you come out on top over him?
I don't know, I feel a bit shaky in the game number 2. I didn't really understand how I lost this one because I had a good build order. And the next game I lost 2, and I tried to do better in the following game on the Unarena map. On this map, I didn't know what was going to happen because it's very close. I won. I think his build was not very good on this map, and it gave me a lot of confidence in the last map because I had my special build on this map with the gold, but it was still very close.
And what are your thoughts on ZvZ in general? I've talked to so many Zerg players at this tournament already, and it seems to be split right down in the middle. We have players like Solar who have openly said that they don't like it. They feel like it's a coin toss, whereas we have players like Snoot who have expressed that they do like it because they feel that the opening builders, that they don't hard counter each other as much anymore as they did in Heart of the Swarm. So what are your personal thoughts?
I think there are definitely hard counter in ZvZ. It depends if you open pool first or double hatch before pool. It gives a big advantage, and especially on some maps like the gold map. If you take the gold and you keep it and your opponent doesn't have a gold, it's over. Your opponent can't come back after this. So it's a bit conflict like before, but ZvZ is better now. There are much more micro because of the Ravager. You always have to dodge the fireball. So it's not like you make a lot of roaches, a click, and then you wait and see what happens. Now you have a lot of micro and multitasking. So I love ZvZ, but the openings are a bit conflict, I think.
All right, and just in general for this tournament, you've had a really good run, especially yesterday. I don't believe that your game against Bomber wasn't on the mainstream, but you did defeat him 2-0. And today, obviously, now you're in the top 3. Your run has been really great at this tournament so far. Do you feel that you're just... Legacy of the Void is just a better game for you? Do you feel really good in it?
I think Legacy of the Void is very different for me because I think most people know me because of Swarmost, a long, boring game. And I play very aggressive now in Legacy of the Void because it's better. You can't camp and make a big army. It's not working in this game anymore. But I prefer this game. It's a lot more about multitasking, very aggressive playstyle. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right, and you are now secured in the top 3, but you do kind of have this big final boss waiting for you in this next round. Of course, it's Solar, and everyone's been talking about Solar all day. You know, this whole tournament, online, everywhere. They're like, oh, Solar's so good. You know, he's the best in Legacy of the Void. All this talk. What are your thoughts going into that? I mean, are you going to try to just play your own game? Are you going to watch his VODs? Like, how do you plan on preparing for that match?
I know Solar has been playing Legacy of the Void for a very long time on the beta. I didn't play the game for very long because I was still in the WCS system after the Swarm. So I used a lot of his replays to improve because he's obviously one of the very best players right now on Legacy of the Void. So I know him, I know his build, I know what he is going to do, I think. So I will stick with my game plan, but I don't know. Solar is very strong, but I was really impressed by Showtime. His PvZ. I am happy I don't play him because I think all the Koreans are very strong, but Showtimes look like Korean gods.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure if you heard, but I forgot one of the Koreans that was I believe it was TY who watched Showtime said that he felt that Showtime's Protoss play was actually on par with the Koreans. So, I mean, he agrees with you.
Indeed, I played a lot of Smurf account and Barcodes. I didn't know there is a very strong Barcode, Protoss. I thought it was Lilbo because he said he practiced only on Legacy of the Void. But finally, after watching Showtime's game, I know it's him, and I know this guy is very, very strong.
All right, well, thank you very much, FireCake. Congratulations again on making it to the top 3 at the first premier tournament for Legacy of the Void. That will wrap up our day 2, and that will secure 6 players into the final day. We'll see what happens tomorrow and which player will move on to be the first champion in Legacy of the Void. But before we get too carried away, let's take a look at all the action that happened on day 2 with Nathanius.
Thank you so much, Smix. Always good to hear FireCake given Showtime. You guys pumped him up. You know, hey, you get your
the dark
your street
horse to
cred
win this
Snoop.
tournament.
Just a very nice interview in general.
Yeah,
I think. And Showtime getting the hype that he deserves.
I think he's going to do very well tomorrow.
And FireCake getting the hype he deserves too. Top 3 in this tournament. Out of nowhere. I really didn't know he was this good in Legacy, honestly. I really didn't.
I haven't seen him in any of the stuff that I've watched at all, actually.
Just like that, out of nowhere, FireCake appears.
Do you think it's an advantage for FireCake that he hasn't been as active in these online tournaments compared to Bly, for example, and not shown that much of his playstyle?
If his level's at this level, absolutely.
I mean, even if Bly didn't show any of his playstyle whatsoever, you know Bly's going to attack you.
It doesn't help, though.
But
I think it's of course it's an advantage.
it is an advantage not knowing how this guy plays because, yeah, FireCake even talked about it in the interview. We all knew him as the Swarm host guy that was very good at playing patient and waiting for his opponent. And here, he talked about, hey, you have to attack in Legacy of the Void. It's a totally different game. I had to rework my style. He watched a lot of Solar replays. So if he's just like a mini Solar clone, of course it's going to be working out really well for him, you know?
Scary. It's scary, though. Solar, I would assume, does not have the same type of information on FireCake. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out tomorrow.
Solar just goes into the match like, okay, how did I play a month or two ago? All right, how do I beat that? All right. So,
How do I counter myself?
dun, dun, dun. So it definitely makes things very, very tricky. I like this setup that we have, and we're going to take a look at the way that things have shaped up over the course of the day. Man, we got through a lot of StarCraft. Solar is, of course, going to be playing against FireCake to determine the first grand finalist tomorrow, but Parting has to play TY to eliminate a second Korean from this tournament, and then Nerchio has to take out, the guy that we're all apparently getting on the bandwagon for, Showtime.
The thing is I think Showtime has a great chance versus Solo. I actually think it's going to be a great series, but the problem is, I think he's got a lot of work to do first. Nerchio is not going to be an easy game, even though I think he's favored, Showtime that is. And then Parting or TY, whoever it is, I think that's probably where he's most likely going to trip up.
Possibly. Showtime's PvC just looks unstoppable right now.
Yeah.
But the problem is he has to reach... he has to reach either FireCake and he has to get through either Parting or TY to get there.
Yeah.
What's funny about Showtime, though, before this whole Zerg killing streak happened, he talked about how unlucky he was that he has to play all these Zergs, but then he decimates them all without dropping a map.
I think the most interesting thing that I've noticed just from watching this is like the first Legacy of the Void tournament is of all the stuff that we talked about that we kind of know is strong or weaker or whatever, the PvZs have been surprisingly close in my opinion. Like it's been really, really a treat to watch these guys go head to head. It's the games are nowhere near as hectic or crazy as at least I expected.
I think the games have been super fun these last few days. It's been really entertaining. I think the players have enjoyed playing it. I think we've all definitely enjoyed watching it. Viewers at home have enjoyed it. And it's only the beginning, too. I think it's going to get even better, obviously, now the deeper stage of the tournament is happening tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot more on the line. Of course, keep in mind as we go through tomorrow and finish out today, this tournament has been brought to you by ROCCAT, who put together this $50,000 prize pool. Someone tomorrow is going to win 20 grand. You can still stay in the running to win some sweet swag from them by tweeting with the hashtag #SetTheRules and the hashtag DHW15. We're going to be coming back tomorrow afternoon to finish up the first offline Premier Tournament for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Any final thoughts, guys?
As thanks to everyone who's watched from around the world. I know in America it's Thanksgiving. I know there's a lot of Blizzard employees watching over in America. So hello to all of you and hope you can join us tomorrow. And I hope you've had fun and hopefully continue to have fun with us.
And if you didn't watch Bly against Showtime, the final moments of all 31 of those Mutalisks, please do so.
The highlight is on SC Reddit. Just do it. We'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon for the conclusion of the ROCCAT Legacy of the Void Championship.